Between Morocco and Mauritania, there is a 5-kilometer stretch that separates the two countries. So it's called a 5-kilometer no man's land. Nobody's there. It's just there, free for all. And you know, when you have an area that is free for all, criminal gangs will move it. The Moroccan policeman at the last border crossing asked me that, do I have anybody to guarantee my security across this path? And I was wondering, I said, who, what security? And he said, you mean you don't have anybody to guarantee you and you're gonna cross this? I said, I don't know about that, I don't have anything. And the guy said, I wish you luck. You know, it was a very tough moment for me because I was shaken when I heard that. And well, you know, I can't turn back. You know, I have to go on. And I just stayed there for a while. Then another policeman who saw that I was genuinely worried about that came to me and told me, he said, this is gonna be the most difficult 5 kilometers of your life. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but if you're gonna survive these 5 kilometers, you have to be at your very best. And all I can say is I wish you luck. I did the bike ride from London to Lagos. I did it because before I die thing. One of my bucket lists. I remember when I did the bicycle ride from Lagos to Ghana and back, it was stretching. And after accomplishing that, I asked myself, what is the next goal I could put myself through that will stretch me further? Then that was when the idea to do the London to Lagos motorbike ride came in. So that idea was there like 3 years ago, and I started building the plan. Like what I always do, I would like to tie this to a charitable cause. Then I chose polio. Because polio, it's a big problem for us in this part of the world, not only in Africa, but also in Asia. You know, yes, Nigeria is certified polio free, but the truth is the virus is still here with us. If we do nothing, the virus will resurge. So we cannot afford to be complacent. We have to continue to do those things we know that are working. So I chose polio because for me, polio is a personal thing. It's a personal fight. While growing up as a child, my best friend had polio. And you know, back then as a child, you know, he couldn't join us to do those things kids normally do, you know, like playing football, cycling, running up and down, swimming, all those things kids do that we do those days. He couldn't do it. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he was limited by polio, so he couldn't do it. My first meeting with surgery was in primary school, okay? You know, that was in the very early 80s, in the very, very early 80s. We're in the same class together. And you know, kids then, you fantasize so much, your imagination is running wild. My lifelong ambition was to be a fighter pilot. I just wanted to be that badass pilot that would shoot everybody down from the sky, you know. So Jotu would tell me, I want to be a pilot too. And I remember some guys, you know, would laugh quietly. And they would say, sorry, you can't be a pilot. You know, then as kids, they make jest of everything. And I remember when they tell Sanjo that you can never be a pilot, the guy will retreat to his shell and, you know, start crying. I didn't feel the pain then as a kid. You know, it's just normal thing that kids do. But, you know, all this thing is just coming back to me now. Then I realize how painful it must have been for the guy, what he must have gone through. We kept in touch, we're still friends all through. We lost him 2 years ago. It was a painful thing for him. He did suffer, the family did suffer. And, you know, when we lost him, I just said to myself, if there's something I can do to make sure another child doesn't go through that pain again, then I'm gonna do it. So that was why the idea of tying polio to the London to Lagos bike ride came to be. And I went all out. I spoke to all the Polio Plus committee members in Nigeria, and we agreed that, yeah, this is a good initiative we can do to address, you know, the cause of ending polio in Africa, and indeed the world over, to draw so much attention to the issue of polio, so that to stop people from becoming complacent, so people can begin to, you know, wake up, continue to wake up again to realize that the risk and the threat of the virus resurging is still with us. My friend's name is Sojo. Sorry, I can't tell you the last name, and I can't show you a picture of him because the family wanted me to put it that way. They wanted a quiet closure for him. So he was on crutches, And all through that time, till his last day, he was still on crutches. So, you just imagine what it is like to have your body that can carry you to do things you want to do, but you depend on crutches, which limits your ability to do things. Riding from London to Lagos, takes you through several countries. Actually, I traversed 13 countries in total, almost like 42 cities. And with this, you need to cross several borders. And you need to cross waters, ocean and sea and rivers. Actually, on the routes, there are 3 water crossings. You have the first one, which is the English Channel. The second one is the Mediterranean Sea. And the third one is the river crossing between Mauritania and Senegal. Kidira is the border town with Mali, but there's an interesting story between Tambacounda and Kidira. The distance is about 250 kilometers, which is really nothing for the ride, not too much a big deal. But the challenge with that is the road traverses through a game reserve, a park. And in the park, there are lions, there are hyenas, there are cheetahs. I spoke to a lot of park rangers, the night before, to find out how to safely cross that park. And they told me that anything from 6 p.m. in the night, you can't be in the park because lions are always on the road. But in the morning and afternoon also, lions sometimes, they ingress into the road, they come there. And so I spent the night really studying about how lions attack people. So it occurred to me that, okay, in terms of maneuverability, the lion is more maneuverable than me because even at 50 kilometers an hour, I can't turn the bike. I checked the maximum speed of the lion and I discovered the lion cannot do more than 80 kilometers an hour. That's the stop speed. So I said, okay, here, I have a strategy. So whatever the case may be, no matter how winding, how twisty the road is, my speed cannot be less than 110 kilometers an hour. That means I have to be like 30 kilometers above the maximum speed of a lion so that in case if I see a lion, before the lion reacts or tries to attack, I will have already gone. About 8 o'clock in the morning, I came out, loaded my bike, ready to go. And that was the first time I have a really heart-to-heart talk with my bike, Ego. And I remember that morning, I knelt down beside Ego and I said to Ego, we have a situation today. We can't afford to get eaten by lion. I don't want to be eaten by lion, so I need you to help me through this. I felt my bike, it has a soul. It responded. He said to me, let's go for it. The first confirmation I got was when I took the bike and I entered the road, little push on the throttle. I'll just see 150, 140, 150. And I said to myself, hey, Ego, you are like on steroids, that kind of a thing. And it was like telling me, we are in need together, I got your back. We didn't see a lion, thank God, but we saw something that I didn't think about, that I didn't plan for. And those are monkeys. And they turn out to be much dangerous than a lion. Because the monkeys, they don't go in one, they go in pack, like 30, 50, and they just run in front of you without you knowing. I was like on 150 and the head of monkey just ran in front of me. Now, at even 120, if you take a monkey or you take something, you're going down. So I had to go down hard on the front brakes. I know going hard on the brake, the ABS give you a sharp nose down. And it got to the point that the rear wheel of the bike lifted up. But again, the thing bounces back on the ground. And, you have this bouncy effect. And I said, whoa, I love this bike. I love this experience, that kind of a thing. And I had experiences like that twice with monkeys. So, the whole thing was really nice because I actually felt, the soul of Ego was connected to me that day. Before going on this trip, I read everything about all the countries I was going to pass through. And I tell you, all the countries were red zone, red or amber. Amber means go there with great caution. Red means don't go there, it's dangerous. You could get killed, things could happen, all those things. What I discovered on this trip for me was the true African story. And I realized that all those things I read about this country were not true, they were false. People are nice, African people are hospitable people. They are nice people. And I ask you, Which country in Europe or in America can I have that experience and people will do that to me? My takeout, my most important takeout from this adventure was the discovery of the true African story. And I realized that all those things I read in the Western media about all these African countries, they are lies, they are not true. What they used to define the African story in the Western media, which basically is safari, jungle, or animal, they are not true. The story of the African people, the diversity of the African culture, you know, the hospitality, the friendliness, okay, the warmth of the African people tells a far much more richer story than safari, than jungle, or the animal. Did I inform my family before going on this trip? The answer is yes, we had a discussion about it. And you know, this is not the first time of the series of Die Hard adventures I've done, though the most challenging so far. My family, my children know that I take risks, but I don't take stupid risks, I take calculated risks. And they know I like to plan. And when I told them I was going to do it, they just said to me, okay, Dad, go ahead, do it, but make sure you come back. And I'm back. So I fulfilled my promise to my children. A lot of people have been asking me about Zainab. Let me say it this way, Zainab is a lady I met through a friend. I met Zainab like 6 months back, before the ride. I actually needed somebody to give me on-the-ground information about all these countries that I was going to be traveling through. So I needed somebody to connect me with people that can give me valuable information in the Francophone countries. So somebody introduced me to Zainab and I reached out to Zainab and she agreed to help me. When I got connected to Zainab and we started talking, I've not met her in person. In fact, we've not even done a video call before. It was only like audio call, but we spoke a lot. So it went for a period of about 6 months to the point that, you know, we got comfortable with each other and we were close. And I remember the first day I saw Zainab was when I rode into Côte d'Ivoire. When I was denied entry first at Côte d'Ivoire that I couldn't go in before going in through Burkina Faso, I called her. You know, we've been talking, she arranged all those things. And she was frantically, you know, like I was even like worried for her because she was so concerned and frantically calling everybody. And I had to call in everybody to see how I can get access in, but it was on a Sunday, so it was difficult. So finally, when I got into Côte d'Ivoire, I went to Yamoussoukro, then the following day I went to Abidjan. And when I got into Abidjan, the hotel, Zainab already arranged and prepared everything for me. And I got there, that was my first time of seeing Zainab. And I remember I jumped off the bike. Then I ran to Zainab, I hugged her, then I lifted her up. You see, in the course of that 6 months of knowing Zainab, I discovered Zainab she has a golden heart, a very beautiful heart. She's a nice lady, you know. She preempts, you know, like she's quite proactive. She knows what you're gonna need, what you're gonna ask. And before you say it, it's already done. I like that a lot. You know, that attracted me to the lady. If you ask me, do I really like her? The answer is yes, I like Zainab a lot. Do I want to be with Zainab? The answer is yes, I want to be with Zainab. The last part is Zainab available? The answer is no, Zainab is not available. So that's the part, you know, in life you want some things so much, but sometimes you don't get it. A lot of people ask me, what is the next step? Right. The next step for me now is an adventure also I'm working on. So probably it's gonna be on in the next 2 years. I'm gonna ride from Lagos to Israel, then from Israel to Tibet. I wanna ride on a Tibetan plane, you know, that's the highest plateau in the world. I wanna ride it. You know, there's this saying that God lives in Tibet. You know, it's a saying to define, you know, to classify the high level of purity you see in Tibet. So I want to experience that. Actually, my destination is Mount Everest Base Camp. Because when I ride to the base camp, I'm going to drop my bike and try to climb the mountain. So that's what is the need for me for the next 2 years.